So this is going to be audio commentary for my recent Pokemon Red speedrun in 1 hour and 53 minutes. This was my personal best by a total of over 4 minutes. So an over 4 minute improvement on my old personal best time. Um, if you want to watch the original run with the audio commentary, then you can click the link to the Twitch video in the description. But I felt like for this run, which was my first time that I am happy with in any Pokemon speedrun, I think that I wanted to do some post commentary on this video to explain like some of the decisions I made. So for the most part in this run, spoiler alert, it's a 153, which is currently tied for 6th place and tied for 3rd place among console times. I only made like 3 mistakes, and only one was really major that cost a lot of time. But for the most part, my execution throughout this run was very solid. In terms of luck, it came and went. There were a lot of parts that were very, very good luck, and then there was one main part of the run that was really bad luck. So Pokemon Red, it's not my main speed game, and it never has been. As you notice, this was only my 78th attempt of Red, and a lot of attempts were in races and such, so I've probably only done about 60 serious attempts, and maybe only like 7 or 8 runs that have got past like Misty. So my rival fight went pretty well, actually. I got 2 growl fails right off the bat. Or maybe that was a tackle miss. I wasn't really paying attention. But this Bulbasaur fight was really good. So, like, at this beginning, I would like to see 12 special coming out here. And I did get the 12 special, but I also get a 10 attack after this rival fight. So, with 10 attack, 12 special, you have really bad attack, which usually makes a Weedle guy 1 turn slower. You can sometimes have problems killing level 3 Rattatas on Route 1 for experience. So I'm really hoping to find a level 2 that I can kill so I don't lose a turn. It also means that if you find a level 3 Nidoran, then you're better off not weakening it, because you won't do enough damage in most cases. So, one thing I want to discuss here is my Route 1 movement that nobody else has really taken, and like I figured it out by some testing, and it's optimally slower and 1 extra grass tile, but for lazy people like me, you never have to like get blocked by goalie guy. Also, I missed a tackle on the Rattata. That's kind of annoying, but Route 1 was pretty good. That was only 1 encounter on the way up and a good rival fight, so we're looking pretty good here. But yeah, back to, what was I talking about? Yeah, back to the Route 1 movement. Basically, if you're holding up and only up when goalie guy spawns on screen, he will always move either left or right. So my old strategy for Route 1 movement was to just load him as late as possible and stay in the left. But then if he goes in the way, then you have to move another tile, which is 5 grass steps instead of 4, which is not optimal. So I figured, well, if he's 50-50 to block you, why don't you just move in the tile he's already in, so he's 100% to get out of the way. So that's what I decided to do. And a lot of people still don't think it's worth it, but it just seems like really safe and straightforward. And in the worst case, when you take the normal Route 1 movement and get blocked by goalie guy, you're taking normally 3 steps. So 4, and then if you get blocked, you have to take a 5th step. So in the worst case, you have 5 steps, plus like potential turn frames and bonks for encounters, and in my situation, you always have 4 steps for encounters. So, yeah, the early game there isn't really much to talk about, other than saying, I guess I could discuss what my PB time is like. So the splits I'm racing against, these were in a race, so I have 1 safety save before Brock and 1 safety save before Misty, but I got through both fights, so I didn't have to reset. So it was a single segment run. It was a time of 1:57, and it was about 10 seconds into 1:57 range, so it was a high 1:57. My best time in serious attempts was a 1:58, but in terms of running red, I don't really run red enough to get enough good runs, so like I said, most of the times I speedrun the game are in races. But the main thing was Mount Moon was really bad, and I had no Paris, so I lost a lot of time on Surge. As you can see, 53-minute Surge is not really a good time. And then my mid and late game execution wasn't the best either, so I lose a lot of time in the mid and late game compared to what a good run would be. So I bought 8 Pokeballs. Normally I buy 7, but I just mash as fast as I can. So we go over into the Nidograss. I still don't actually know the D-Sum because I don't know the encounter slots, but luckily we get first encounter Nidoran. It's level 3, which means, like I said before, with 10 attack, I'm not going to try to weaken it. So I just throw a ball, and luckily it gets in. So the first RNG point of the run is out of the way, getting a Nidoran in decent time. So we end up saving, I think, 45 seconds on the first split. Yeah, 45 seconds. So that's pretty good. I cannot remember if my PB had Spearow in that grass or not. I feel like it did, but either way, we ended up saving time on Route 3 as well. So I'm not sure. You can get Spearow in that grass also, and you need a flyer at some point, so if you get it, you might as well catch it, but it's not too common. Okay, so entering the forest. Squirtle is at very high health because we only took 4 damage from our encounter, and we took no damage from Nidoran because he got in first ball. But unfortunately, I don't get an encounter. Or unfortunately, I do get an encounter here, which is pretty low. The encounter rate in here, you get about 1 encounter per run. It's really less than that. The average is like half an encounter. Yeah, so like I was saying, because my health was really high, I can skip a potion. So I think I grabbed the potion in the... No, I grabbed... Why did I... Okay, yeah, I grabbed both potions here because it makes my money a little nicer because I don't have to buy as many potions. You can buy up to 10 potions. Now I can only buy 9 and still have proper money for the amount of extra ETS items that I would like to buy and sell it on. Sorry, I'm kind of out of breath. I don't normally talk for this much in one set. So with 10 attack, I like to tail whip this guy 3 times. It's a little more risky because if you get a critical hit or if you miss, then you're doing an extremely low amount of damage. But with 10 attack Squirtle at level 6, you're pretty unlikely to get the 4-shot normally, and it usually takes 7 turns. And I'm just leaving it so Tackle has less chance to miss. It's really like your attack is either 0 or 1 DV, so it's really bad. It doesn't happen in many cases, so it really doesn't matter what you do. So we get through Weedle Guy fight. Our health could be fine for Brock because our special's good, but I decided to go ahead and potion, and this is one of the menuing errors in the run. I didn't make very many, surprisingly. I tried to use the antidote twice because I got a double input. But it's looking pretty good. So now we have like no risk for Brock because we're at full health, and we have 12 special. And all we need now is for our Nidoran to be pretty good. So we had a level 3 Nidoran. So the stats we're looking for at level 5 are basically 11 attack, 10 speed, 9 special, I guess. Yeah. So 11, 10, 9 is runnable. 12, 11, 10 is the highest. You really don't want to see like 10, 9. You really don't want to see 10 attack or 9 speed because those aren't really runnable. So, like I said, 12, 11, 10 are the maximum possible level 5 stats. And I accidentally tail whipped the Geodude. I don't really know what I was doing. For some reason, I thought you go down to bubble, which makes no sense. Okay, so at level 5, our Nidoran stats are 12, 9, 11, 10. So that means we have at least 13 DV attack. I forget what the speed means, but I know that our stats are going to go to at least 16, 15, 12, which is very runnable. As far after that point, like, I know my attack is really good, so that's not going to change how I play based on what DV I have. I will check my attack at level 9, though. But you notice, well, you don't notice, but I did not have a DV calculator up during this run. So I don't know my exact DVs for a while because I'm not checking them at every level. But I do get 16, 15, 13. So that means I have perfect attack, speed, and special at level 8, which is what you want to look for a good Nidoran for a run. The speed allows me to, with the strats I'm going to go for, be at least speed tied with Misty. And the special allows me to get everything I need. And the attack helps to save turns on Route 3 and on Nugget Bridge. So we switch our options to set here. And then we go out. We're going to go buy 9 potions in the mart. We have enough money for 10. But like I said, if you buy one less potion, because we were able to save one, then you have enough money for like the 350 instead of 50 gets you enough for one extra ETS item, which in most cases is more helpful than the potion. And I think in this run I actually had like 5 potions left because I had like a really good Route 3. So on this Route 3, you're looking, with good attack, you're looking to be able to save a couple horn attacks. And the easiest way to do that is to have high attack. So if you have 16 attack at 8, you have a pretty good chance to be able to save a horn attack on either the Weedle or the Caterpie. Not the first Caterpie, though. I got really unlucky with that range because he string shot twice and failed both times, and then I crit on the last turn. So if either of his first 2 string shots would have hit, then I would have got a badge boost, which raises your attack stat by an extra 12.5%, which would have allowed me to be guaranteed to kill that Caterpie in 2 hits with my attack. So the Weedle we don't quite do enough damage to, so I have to horn attack it again. And then this Caterpie is kind of tough with a level 3 Nidoran because you cannot, when you hit level 10 you get an extra attack boost. So with the level 4 Nidoran you get level 10 for this Caterpie, which makes it a lot more likely to die. I got another unlucky roll. So this first fight on Route 3 was pretty much as bad as it can be. We did not 2-shot either of the Caterpies, and we didn't save any horn attacks. So right now I'm thinking, well, there's still short sky. We can have a good short sky fight. But my defense is not very good. So I ended up having 7 DV defense. I don't really check defense very much. Like, I know it's 12, so that means it's either like anywhere from 5 to 10 or something. Now, Tail Whip on turn 1 is not really what you want to see. And then I get Tackle on turn 2. So I see, well, this does 14 damage, Quick Attack's going to do a little more, so this is one of the risks I take. If he Quick Attacks, I might have been dead. Tackle gets me a Jingle Skip for level 11, which saves a little bit of time. Now, with a good speed Nidoran, you outspeed the seconds, so you don't have to worry about getting infinitely trolled by Wrap. But I had a defense drop from Tail Whip, so Horn Attack, or not Horn Attack, Poison Sting and Wrap do a lot more damage to me. Short Sky went pretty well, though. I had to heal, but normally, in most cases, you do have to heal on Short Sky, but I did not get any turns of Wrap, so that was really good. But I'm not going to be in Red Bar for this fight. So this fight is a bug catcher with 4 Pokemon. The Weedle has String Shot. You really don't want to see that because his next 2 of his last 3 Pokemon are Kakuna and Metapod. And if they're faster than you and they can harden before you Horn Attack, you usually have to use an extra Horn Attack on the fight. And with how tight Horn Attack PP is, it's really challenging. I'm also like keeping an eye on my speed, but I don't really know the benchmarks for what DV you have to hit or what speed value you have to hit at certain levels to outspeed Misty until 25. Because normally, like, you can see it at 23 and 25. And in yellow, I can determine it easier. But in red, I just don't have enough experience. So I don't actually know my exact speed value for a while. So I haven't really determined what strats I'm going to use. But I get lucky on, I think it's this Metapod. Is it this hit? Yes, it is. Okay. So that critical hit saved a Horn Attack, which is really good because I needed to save one somewhere. And that one just happened to be the one I needed to save. This last bug catcher is pretty similar to the last one. If you get String Shot from the first Caterpie, you can have to use an extra Horn Attack on Metapod. So the actual DVs of this Nido, 7 DV HP, 14 DV attack, 7 defense, 13 speed, 15 special. I did not know any of these for sure except the speed. I knew the special was really good. I knew the attack was at least 13. And the HP was so borderline that I didn't know if it was low or high, so I could not determine if my attack was 13 or 14 DV. In the end, it doesn't really make much of a difference. So, Route 3 went pretty well. We still have to catch a flyer, and if you're used to red speedruns, Spearow is the recommended flyer to get, because if you don't get a Paris in Mount Moon, you can trade it for Farfetch'd in Vermilion. I get Pidgey though, so I have one Horn Attack. I really don't want to use it though, because I'm pretty sure that it would kill. I'm actually not confident that it wouldn't kill, so I have to Tackle, and unfortunately Tackle doesn't get it below half health, so it doesn't really make the Pidgey any easier to catch. We get it Second Ball though, which is nice. So this Route 3 was really solid. And the other good thing is I did not have to use any potions. I used 1 potion before Short Sky. Short Sky fight went really well, so I'm going to have 9 potions right now, which is really nice to have. Like, it's usually you've had to use like more. So I can heal on Nugget Bridge if I have to. I can heal the full before Misty, and I can have plenty of potions left over. So right now I'm going into Mount Moon thinking, well, I'm going to be a minute 20, almost a minute 20 ahead of my splits. So a minute 16 ahead. So I'm thinking, well, if Mount Moon goes pretty well, we can be like a minute ahead. And then this is where the run started to kind of get a little trolly. So with a level 3 Nidoran, you have to kill 3 Zubats, levels totaling 23 or 24. It depends on which levels you kill. But you don't want to kill, in most cases, you don't want to kill any Zubats before you evolve to Nidorino, because the only level you can reliably kill is Sits, but 3-level Sit Zubats is not enough because you need 23 or 24 levels. So generally I don't kill any. Even on good attack, level 7s are damage ranges at level 14. So we fight this trainer. He's really straightforward. You can critical to save a turn on Magnemite with good attack, and you can get a Screech from Voltorb to raise your attack to get a 2-shot to save a turn. I can't remember if I got it on Voltorb or not. Yeah, I don't think I did. But the first Horn attack range was good, so I'm thinking, well, I have a chance to 2-shot this still without the Screech. And I don't get it, unfortunately. And then he hits the 3rd turn Screech, which doesn't matter at all. So this gets me to level 15. So now I'm like, well, I can try to kill level 7 Zubats, I guess, because they're not going to be damage ranges. And the first thing I happen to see is a level 7 Zubat. So I'm like, well, Horn attack will kill this now, so I'll go for it. And we get it. I'm not sure if that was a range. Whew. So we get the items in here, and it's going really well. So that was a total of 4 encounters before this last. So, like, it's not amazing Mount Moon, but so far it's looking pretty solid. So, because we're skipping Hiker and Water Gun, PB also skipped Water and Hiker Gun. PB, I think, had 12 or 13 encounters, no Paris. So if we can get, even an average Mount Moon is 10 or 11 encounters. If we can get that, then we're looking at being, even if we get Paris, we're looking at being still a minute ahead. And if we have Paris, then we can save a lot of time on Surge. So because I have good attack, I get really good ranges on Bellsprout and Oddish. And that's going to get me level 16. I see 26 speed. I don't really know what that does for me. So really I just wait and check my speed at level 23 in red. In yellow I just have more knowledge so I can determine my speed earlier. And also if I had the DV calculator up at this point, then I would have already known my stats. But instead of the DV calculator, I opted for 5 face cams and 2 game feeds. Don't really ask why. But then after last, Mount Moon starts to turn into like what you'd expect from Mount Moon. So there's another level 7 Zubat. I don't really want to kill this because I need 24 levels in most cases. And 7 and 7 means I'd have to kill a 10, which means a 10 is a damage range and it has supersonic. So that's pretty risky. But now I'm just getting bodied by encounters. And the Mount Moon encounters were really the only really bad thing about this run. And even the Mount Moon encounters I'm getting right now aren't being helpful. So I really want like a level 9 Zubat or a level 8. And I get one luckily, so. Like there's not much to talk about at this point other than like when you're in Mount Moon on a run, like you know what your Geodude, or not Geodude, you know what your Zubat strats are going to be. And then you just kind of hope to get out of Mount Moon. And there's nothing you can do about the encounters. It was a 9 encounter floor 1, which when 10 or 11's average in the entire cave, 9 on floor 1 is not good. So that's 10 encounters so far. And then the basement was not any more kind than the other floor. This is like the best stretch we had in all of Mount Moon. Was right here and then more encounters. And at this point, we're up to the average number of encounters and we haven't even found a Paris. So, like, this run's slowly falling apart, but we had enough of a lead and the Niddo's really good. So I'm still thinking PB's pretty free at this point. But I really didn't expect the run to be as good as it was afterwards. So we do find Paris. With this attack, we can safely horn attack because it's level 10. And it gets in the ball. So that's really good. So that's one thing we do have up on PB. Even if we're losing time in Mount Moon, we're going to save it later because my PB traded for Farfetch'd. And that takes like 50 seconds or something. So that's free time save later on. The other option if you don't get Paris and you have Pidgey is you have to desum for Oddish on Route 6 on the way to Vermilion, and it's not very fun. But this encounter rate is just being so bad, and at this point, like, I feel like it's gonna stop, so I still need a level 9 Zubat, which is the most common on this floor, so I try to kill the level 10, and it does not die. So not only did I kill one like at an unoptimal level, it doesn't even die, so I waste an extra turn on it. So right now I'm at 15 encounters in Mount Moon, and I've said before, like, I'm the god of 19 encounter Mount Moons. I thought I was at like 19 at this point. Like, this Mount Moon time is just ridiculously slow. But I was not really worried about this, and you'll see when we get out of Mount Moon that we'll still actually be ahead of these splits, and with a Paris. So we're like looking at maybe 156 pace. But the main thing with this run compared to my PB is just so bad in terms of execution for most of the mid and late game that there's just a lot of time to be saved anywhere or everywhere. So like you look and see, well, I'm a minute ahead. Well, obviously you're not going to be like 6 minutes ahead out of Mount Moon. But when you see, oh, 1 minute ahead, how did he possibly save 3 minutes? Well, anyway, Mount Moon is still doing Mount Moon things. And, well, it's not done. This was actually the last encounter we had in Mount Moon to make a total of 17 with Paris, with 3 Zubat kills, and a wasted turn on Zubat. So, one of the worst Mount Moons you can have without fighting Hiker. And I'm already losing time on Mount Moon before the last trainer. So, at this point I'm just, like, trying. Like, there's nothing you can do about Mount Moon, so I just want to, like, prevent the damage in the rest of the run. So I'm like, well, all the bad RNG is getting out of the way now. So, like, we'll get past Misty. We have a good enough Nidoran for that. We're not going to lose a minute and a half on Surge. We're going to gain a minute and a half because we already have our Flyer. We already have our Cutter. And I can save time on cans. So if that goes well, we're looking at good stuff. And then the late game, there's always time to save because I'm not the best at this game. Alright, so I get a crit on Coughing. There's a chance, even on this attack, it's a pretty low chance, but Coughing might not be a 2-shot. We get it. So I need no encounters in the rest of Mount Moon to come out ahead. And, well, there's still like 20 tiles to get encounters on. Maybe not 20, but luckily, like, I'm ready to split. We get out of here and we are still 3 seconds ahead. So this is like, we're looking at maybe 154, 155 if I play well at this point. Okay, so now we're gonna just walk on. The next part of the game, like, there's really not much thought involved in the mashing up to Misty. Because all the Nugget Bridge fights are like, well, you either get the damage ranges or you don't. And, like, the only thing that can really troll you is Sand Attack and Wrap. And, like, if you dodge the 3 Sand Attacks and the 1 Wrap, then you really can't be hurt on Nugget Bridge. And there's really not much to even talk about at this point in the game. So I'm thinking, well, what's really going... nothing's really going through my head at this point. It just seems like an average run, but I want to keep it alive because well, like, I really, really wanted to PB on this run. Especially after that Mount Moon, because I know that, well, I can easily be at the same time entering Mount Moon, because I had like 1936 Mount Moon entry, and that's a pretty good time, but it's beatable. And then knowing that I can save an easy minute on Mount Moon, even more than that, just means, like, at this point, this run has a really good chance to PB, and I really want it to. We get a crit on Pidgeotto on the first turn, which actually makes it a 2-shot. I was not sure that the second Horn Attack would even kill that. But that was really good because we dodged Sand Attack. So, that fight's not as trolly as in yellow, but you can still get trolled by Sand Attack. So, it's going well. We don't kill Rattata. We don't even come close. I don't even think that's a range in red. But we get Hyper Fang, which in this situation was the best move for it to use because it did the most possible damage. I don't know if I would have wanted a crit there, but Bulbasaur went well because he didn't growl, so we didn't lose a turn there. So we come out of Rival on a really good fight. So now we have the next few fights on Nugget Bridge. The first fight has a Caterpie at level 19 that's not a damage range. It never dies unless you critical. In red, I have a bad memory of Sand Attack trolling, so I still like to Poison Sting this Caterpie because he does not die to Horn Attack either. Just because Poison Sting is a shake move, and I think it will kill with a critical, but it also has a risk of poisoning, which wastes time. But what you do is you actually do save one Horn Attack, and if you really get trolled by Sand Attacks, then it might help to have more Horn Attacks. We get Weedle though. Weedle's a tough range at level 19. And then we get to the first of the two lasses. These lasses both have Pidgeys with Sand Attack, and they do not die in one hit. So this Pidgey, if you're level 20, it's a damage range that's pretty favorable. But if you're level 19, it's pretty much impossible to kill. So I do get Sand Attack. I was pretty upset at this point. But Sand Attack is fine as long as you don't miss. So we hit the Nidoran. So now we just need to hit him one more time. I do miss one Horn Attack and get growled, but luckily we only miss one attack on this bridge. So that's really good. And we get level 20 for the next trainer. So at level 20 for this trainer, on good attack, basically all of his Pokemon turn into damage ranges if you have good attack at level 20. Rattata doesn't matter so much because he doesn't have anything threatening, but his next Pokemon is an Ekans, and if you don't kill it, it has Wrap, which can waste up to 20 seconds, and then his last Pokemon is a Zubat with Supersonic. So really scary if you don't have good attack here. I get the lowest possible roll on the Ekans, but he doesn't do anything bad to me, which works out well. And then we get to Zubat. I'm pretty sure Zubat's actually guaranteed on good attack at level 20. Ekans is like a pretty good range with my attack, 14 DV, but we unfortunately didn't get it. And then we get to the second last. This is the last fight we have to do before we get Thrash. So if you fought the Hiker in Mount Moon, you would get Thrash for this fight, but we have to Horn Attack it. And getting Quick Attack here is actually really good because it means that we don't get Sand Attack on that turn. So now we can safely kill it. The second Quick Attack actually criticals, which is a lot of damage, but it turns out to not matter. Because you can actually, like, the more damage you take, the more likely you are to get Red Bar. We actually do get Red Bar here, and we use it to skip a total of nothing. So in red, you do not skip jingles at the end of fights. So we don't actually skip anything with that red bar. And then we use 2 rare candies to level up out of red bar. So we actually do not skip anything with that. So you see the level 23 stats. Really solid. Perfect special, perfect attack, and 1 off of perfect speed. I know that my speed at this point, I thought it was 12 or 13, but it's actually 13 or 14. So I know my speed is good enough for Misty. But, well, looking back now, I know my speed is good enough for Misty, but I was unsure. So it turns out that I played to be speed tied with Misty, which I'm not sure if it was a misplay, because I don't have the DV chart up right now. But, so if you have 13 DV speed, you outspeed Misty's Starmie. And if you have 12 DV speed, you are speed tied. So what that does if you're speed tied, you're 50-50 to outspeed on the second turn. So basically you're 50-50 to take 1 hit versus 2. That's ignoring like its defend chance, which really just screws you up no matter what. So if you're going to be faster, you don't have to heal to full before Misty. You can still die if you don't heal to full because you can get Bubble Beam Speedfall, or you can get its defend and then not kill. But in most situations, if you are faster, you only have to risk 1 hit. So that will change like the number of potions you use before Misty. But I decide to play it, I'm just going to heal to full for Misty. Because I don't know if I'm faster. So this Machop always dies to Thrash, but his second Pokemon's a Geodude. So ideally, I want him to tackle me into red bar, because tackle means no defense coil and we can stay in, and it also means red bar. But unfortunately we get defense coil, so we don't kill, and then he defense coils again, and we don't get the 4-turn Thrash. So that fight went really poorly. We can switch out to Squirtle and Bubble. Splitting the experience in this fight is fine, but we don't get red bar, and we have to switch. So it turns out to be really, like, kind of bad. The other option that I actually thought about during the run was to let Mankey hit me into red bar. But I think I had 18 HP, and I wasn't exactly sure on how much damage Mankey could do if he crit me. So I didn't want to risk it, because at this point, like, red bar for bridge helps, but like I could have died to Geodude if I was too low on health at that point. So I didn't want to risk anything with how much potential this run had. So I was playing it mostly safe. Like I said, I don't have red bar for any of this. But it also means, like, theoretically, I might have to use less potions to heal. Especially, like, if I... sorry about that. If I played to be faster than Starmie, which I was faster than Starmie, but if I played to be faster than Starmie, I could have got by with 1 fewer potion than I actually used. Which would have, in the end, I would have... Actually, I don't know if I would have gotten red bar in the same place later on. But in the end, I think saving that 1 potion would have saved about 12 seconds in this run. Which doesn't seem like a lot, but I was less than 12 seconds into 157 range on my PB. So, like, a 12-second time save, or a 12-second time loss, is a difference of a full minute, depending on where you are. In this run, it wouldn't have mattered with what my ending time was. But in a lot of cases, 12 seconds is huge. Alright, so we get through that. We're going to pick up the Ether. I think I was actually supposed to pick up the Elixir behind the Hiker in this run, since I still had my antidote. But I'm not exactly sure, like, how the menus work and how the item situation works in red with that strat. So I just went with what I know, because it's really no faster to pick up the Elixir than the Ether. It's like a super small optimization. And it's something like shopping after the SSN in Vermilion. So at this point, I'm thinking to myself, where are my potions located? Where's my escape rope located? So now we're getting into a lot of menuing coming up soon. So I know potions in slot 2. It's because it always is. Most of the time. And I know I have an antidote still. So I'm going to have to go down 3 to escape rope. But like I said, I'm going to heal to full. But 76 out of 78. I had the potion to spare. But it's not worth it to heal the 2 HP because you still have to deal with Goldine. So, in this case, I could have just healed after Goldine if I took damage from Goldine. Also, I lost, my stream was a little laggy, but for the most part it was good. It kind of stuttered up through Rock Tunnel a bit, but it was fine for the first, 35 minutes. So I really want to take no damage from this Goldine. It has 1 damaging move and 2 other moves. And one of those 2 other moves is Tail Whip, which does nothing bad. And the other one is Supersonic. So now I'm starting to lag a bit on this Goldine fight. But we got Tail Whip. So I decided to not heal going into Misty. But I need to see my level 25 stats. So at level 25, if you see 57 special, or 57 speed, then you outspeed Starmie. Unfortunately, I don't know that until after Staryu. So I can't really play to outspeed because I don't know if I'm going to outspeed until halfway through the fight. So that would have been risky. But at 25, I think that actually lagged so it didn't show up. But that was 57 speed. I saw it during the run. So I do not get Bubble Beam Speedfall. I know this lag's annoying during the worst part of the fight. I don't think this is on my end. Or I don't think this is on my end in the playback. It might be. Let me take a look at this really quick. Task Manager. I just want to see if there's something going that shouldn't be on CPU. And then I'll get right back to it. Okay, yeah, it's the video. Okay, so we get past Misty, and through all the frame drops, whatever this is, I don't remember it being this bad during the run, but I've watched over, and this is atrocious how bad this is. But it seems like for most of the run I was not having lag problems. But anyway, we got past Misty. We're on, I forget what HP we're on at this point. But we go into Dig Rocket, and we have good enough attack where Machop always dies. So we're not going to take any damage from Machop. So we thrash it, it dies. We're on 38. So at this point I'm thinking, well, we have enough health to basically tank anything. But Vermilion Rival, well, SSN Rival can do some damage, and Surge can do some damage. So basically on the whole Surge split, you're planning how am I going to get red bar for Rock Tunnel? So how will I get red bar for Rock Tunnel? I'm at 41, so I want to take a lot of damage. So the main places to take damage, you have Pidgeotto in the rival fight. You have Eradicate that can Hyper Fang you. You can take damage from Ivysaur. And then, it's kind of unlikely, but Surge has a Voltorb with Sonic Boom for 20. And then Pikachu can Quick Attack for 4. So really there aren't that many places to take damage, but you can take damage in bunches. Alright, so I get an encounter on Route 6. So it's a Pidgey. Wastes 11 seconds, but there's a lot of time to be saved on this split. The Surge split is the biggest time save I have over the course of the run. So, oh yeah, and the other place you can take damage is there are 5 Pokemon on these 2 trainers, and 4 of them have Quick Attack. So usually you get hit with at least one. maybe closer to 2 on average. So you'll be a little lower on health. I don't remember how many I actually got here. I think I might have actually gotten none, which is kind of rare. So, yeah, we get through all 3 of these Pidgeys without getting quick attacked. So that means, well, now it's even harder to get into Red Bar. So if you don't get Red Bar off of Surge, you have basically 4 places you can get it. You can get it off of the first 4-turn Thrash fight if you hit yourself in Confusion. I mean, of course that's risky because you don't want to hit yourself in Confusion on the Bellsprout, because Bellsprout has some trolly moves like Sleep Powder and Wrap. But you get it earliest with that method. But you also can't control it, because if you hit the Thrash on the 4th turn, then you, of course, don't take any damage. The other options are Cubone in Rock Tunnel, and then 2 Slowpokes in Rock Tunnel. Since in most cases you want to get Red Bar as soon as possible, Cubone is actually pretty appealing, because on my defense he's going to do about, I think, 28 damage, because my defense isn't perfect. It's actually like pretty average. So it all depends on what health I have coming out of the Surge fight, and really what health I'm in going into Rock Tunnel, because I don't want to be too low on health either. So, I mean, you're thinking pretty far ahead at this point, but you're also thinking, well, we got to get through like the nest fights. One of the like worst things you can do in a speedrun, if you're not like that familiar with the game, or like if your muscle memory is a little off, one of the worst things you can do is think too far ahead, and then like fail to realize like what's going on right in front of you. So that actually happens. I don't think it happened to me in this run, but like it's something like in yellow a lot of times, because Erica is so easy in yellow, you'd think ahead to Koga and how I'm going to heal for Koga, and then you forget that you still have to fight Erica. And one time I just flew to Koga before fighting Erica, even though my split has been highlighted that says Erica for the last 13 minutes. I just go to the wrong place. Okay, so this rival fight, Pidgeotto still has Sand Attack, and it is now a 2-shot, so that's a little nicer. Horn Attack can kill it in 1 hit with a critical, so that's why we go for it. I get Sand Attack, which is really bad if it hits, but luckily it misses. So now I'm at even more health, because I cannot seem to take damage. So I'd really like Raticate to do something like Hyper Beam, or Hyper Fang, I mean, but we crit it. So now we're looking at, well, at this point, do we Red Bar at all? Because like our health is so high that at this point it would almost take 2 turns to get into Red Bar. Even though Red Bar saves a lot of time in red, getting it would, like, if it takes too long, it might not really be worth it. But we get a Vine Whip from Ivysaur. So now I'm thinking, well, we'll probably go for it again, because 36 HP. Like I said before, Cubone does about 28. So that we'll have about 10 more health by then. So that should put us at 18, which is Red Bar. But right now I'm discussing like the 4-turn Thrash fight is the best place to get Red Bar, like I said, because it's the earliest. But it's also very, like, you can't control it, and it's really risky. So getting Red Bar off Surge would mean that we might have to switch on the 4-turn Thrash fight if we don't get it, because we might be too low to survive hitting ourselves in Confusion. And also Sonic Boom at this point on 38 HP, or was it 36? Sonic Boom would get us Red Bar, but we would level out of it immediately. So we'd have to get Quick Attack again from Pikachu. So getting Red Bar off Surge seems pretty unlikely, but there's also the option of stalling on Voltorb until Sonic Boom, because Voltorb doesn't have any threatening moves. I considered that during this fight. So like using Thunderbolt, or not Thunderbolt, using like Poison Sting on the Voltorb after the first hit to hope that he does Sonic Boom. You could have also like kept Leer for longer, so you could Leer the Voltorb until Sonic Boom. So this menu, I hesitated a bit because I'm not exactly sure what to do because I'm used to yellow menus. But in red, the main difference is Cut goes over top of Dig on your Paris versus Dig being on top of Cut for Charmander in yellow. So when you have a Paris, all the menus for Cut and Dig are backwards. But I'll get more on that in a little bit. Cans, one of the big time saves, and that was really good. Like, those cans were basically all you can hope for first try cans, and they were fast. So on this Surge split, we already had a Paris, so we didn't have to get far-fetched. And we had good cans. So we're coming out of Surge. We're going to save almost a minute and a half on Surge. That's basically the time I can save. So Voltorb, I'm hoping for Sonic Boom. We get Tackle. It's a little bit of damage. So I'm really liking what my HP is at this point for getting Red Bar off of Cubone. So I've pretty much committed to that. I thought about stalling on Voltorb, but I have a pretty consistent Red Bar off Cubone at this point. So, oh, another hiccup in the video. It seems like after Rock Tunnel it was all fine, but like Misty and Surge, like the video completely messed up. And I don't want to get too much into like my streaming problems, but I'm having like some issues with like the lag like you're seeing, and it's not my internet or my bitrate, and I'm not dropping any frames. But anyway, with Cut being on top of Dig, when you're used to Dig being on top of Cut, if you're a yellow runner like me, that means every menu you have to really think. It's like, I need to cut. So I actually focused a lot more on these menus than I normally do in yellow. Because in yellow I got the muscle memory, like go down to cut, okay. But now for every single menu, I think like, what am I gonna do? I need to go, my cursor is on Paris. I need to go down one to Dig, for example. Oh, my cursor is on Paris and I need to fly. Go up one to Pidgey and fly. So I put a lot of thought into these menus, like more than you would normally do, just because I'm not used to them. But I think that was good for having me not mess them up as much. So this menu went really well. I got the fast scroll too, and I almost hit Bicycle straight on. And I taught Thunderbolt here. So really good menu for not being that used to the menus in this game, and being able to cut the tree without going down to Dig. I don't think I messed up a single time with using Cut versus Dig in this run. I think the only thing I messed up was trying to teach Fly to the wrong Pokemon or something. Okay, so I really would like to either get the 4-turn Thrash or hit myself in Confusion. Because hitting myself in Confusion might be enough for early Red Bar. Because my attack is good, my defense isn't that great. I don't know how much damage it does though. So I'm really thinking, well, we'll just hold out and wait until Cubone. So I really just want the 4-turn Thrash because that makes it so much easier, and it's faster, of course. I don't get the 4-turn Thrash, but I don't hit myself. So it ends up being perfectly fine for what I want to go for. But now you see 39 HP. Like, our HP just keeps getting higher and higher. But I really would like to get Red Bar to save some time, because Red Bar and Rock Tunnel saves a lot of time. And I don't think I had it in PB. At least judging from my splits, I either didn't have it or I got really trolled from one of these fights. But going back to my splits, now I'm a minute 51 ahead. So at this point, basically solid 2 minutes ahead is 1:55 pace. My goal for this category was a 1:54. So I know I can save more time if I play well. So I'm thinking, well, 154 shouldn't be that bad, because I would need to save about 45 more seconds, and I know my tower was really bad, and I know I can save time with Red Bar Rock Tunnel, and I know my late game, mainly Elite Four, can save time, and Victory Road. So I'm thinking, well, if I can just save time in a few of those places, then I can easily get a 154 in this run. So I was playing for 154 for quite a while. Alright, so here comes the big play of Red Bar off Cubone. So, I thought he did more than he actually did, so maybe I got low rolled by him. But Cubone can miss Bone Club, and he can also, if he misses Bone Club, then on turn 2, he has a 50% chance to growl, which wastes even more time. And you actually get a defense badge boost from Surge. So what that does is, if you get growled, he actually does less damage with his Bone Club. And Cubone, of course, has a higher crit chance than Slowpoke, so Cubone Red Bar is riskier, but it does the most damage, and at my health and my special stat, neither of the Cubones would have done enough damage to get me in Red Bar, or neither of the Slowpokes would have, so Cubone Red Bar turned out to be the best option. And I'm pretty high Red Bar, so that's good and bad. So the good is, I have a better chance of staying alive on the first fight after Rock Tunnel, which is Lavender Tower Rival. And the bad is, it means if I don't take damage from this Oddish, then I'm going to level up out of Red Bar at level 31. So killing that Oddish on 14 DV at level 29 is an insane range, and I got lucky, so that was really good. So this Rock Tunnel so far is going really well. I do know I'm going to level out of Red Bar at 31 though. So that happens to be, I think, right before the Pidgey. I think I'm right on that. So there's a Pidgey with a quick attack, but I'm going to level right before him. So I'll lose my Red Bar, but I have a chance to get it back. So I'm also thinking, well, because Celadon's coming up, of what do I need to buy? So I'm actually, like, I knew you can get an extra ETS item by doing the potion buy I did, but I don't know exactly how many I'm able to buy. I know I can normally buy 10, 5, 4, so 10 ETS accuracies, 5 ETS specials, 4 ETS speeds. But I also know, or maybe it was 10, 4, 5. But either way, I know I'm going to need one more at special and one less at speed, because my speed and special are good enough to do at special strats on champion. So at special strats on champion, you Horn Drill Alakazam and you Ice Beam Rhydon, which is, Ice Beam has a faster animation than Earthquake. So you end up saving a little bit of time on that fight. And I also feel like, well, I'm definitely not doing Sylph Red Bar at this point, but I would still like to have an extra at special. And I feel like I can buy an extra at speed too. But since those are the last things you buy in red, I feel like, well, I'm buying 10 at X for sure. I'm buying 5 at specials, but do I want to buy 4 or 5 at speeds? And in the end, I just left the decision up. How much money do I have? If I can buy 5 at speeds, I'll buy 5 at speeds. So I ended up having enough money for 5 at speeds, so I bought 5, but yeah. So this Gambler, now that I'm not in Red Bar, I choose to Thrash here even though my special's perfect, because if I miss the range, I have a chance of getting like Bite back into Red Bar. So Vulpix actually plays really nice and quick attacks me, so I get my Red Bar back for the start of Tower Rival, which is very nice because it allows me to Red Bar the entire fight if I get basically in all situations. So there's a chance of getting attacked by Pidgeotto on both turns, And I like to get around that by thunderbolting if I have enough health to tank one hit, but not two. If you can't take one hit, then you would probably just YOLO him and Etzak. But I choose to do Thunderbolt strats. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So first we need to do shopping. And I know in red you don't sell anything here because you don't pick up the extra nugget. So I just need to make sure I have a really clean shopping trip and a really clean menu. I know my menu isn't perfect because I'm not exactly really used to the big menu in red. It's smaller than in yellow, but the items are in different spots. So we do our standard buy. We buy Horn Drill, we buy 10 Super Repels, and we buy a Pokédoll down here. Like, I like the stuttering on this video. It's like my guy walks really slow, then he teleports. And then the random, like, 12-second pauses. Like, I'm unable to local record my videos while streaming. Technically, I can, but I'm not sure how much extra load it would be on my CPU. Because you see it's already having problems, so I don't know if local record would have the same problems that the stream was having. But it's just my computer isn't the best. Yeah, so right now I'm just doing the calculations of how many X items I want to buy. So I'm going to get to the X item counter. And I'm just going to look at my money and see, well, I buy 10 X no matter what. And how much money does that give me? That gives me enough for 10. So I can buy 5 X specials and 5 X speeds, which gives me extras that I probably won't use. But what else am I going to use my money for at this point? So that was a good shopping trip. So now we red barred most of Rock Tunnel. And we didn't get trolled by any of the fights, so we're thinking, well, this will probably be like 20-second time save or so, maybe even 30. So now I'm thinking, well, when we get to fly, we're going to be 2.5 minutes ahead. So now I only have to save a little bit of time for 154. So I already saved, I know I can save time on Pokemon Tower. And I already saved a big chunk of time on Fly Split. Also, I really like how smooth this menu is for not being that used to the game. Like, even getting the double input swap there. And then getting, right on Etzak without too much extra movement. This is the one mistake I made in the menu. Is I'm used to having Pidgey in slot 2 from yellow. So I end up teaching Fly to Squirtle, which doesn't really work too well. But it doesn't cost much time. Luckily it's only like a 2-second time loss. And then I don't forget to repel. So that was a really, really solid menu for me. Probably the best menu. I always mess up one thing, but that was a really good menu. So, Tower Rival, like I said, we can red bar through the entire fight. And I'm going to start off by Thunderbolting the first 2 Pokemon and setting up on Growlithe, because that will get us, it'll let us keep red bar, and Growlithe does less damage and cannot kill you. Unless Pidgeotto does something like Quick Attack Critical or something. So, we get past Pidgeotto, we get past Gyarados. I'm not sure if I'm going to hold red bar for this Jingle Skip. Luckily, I do get it. 21 out of 103 is just barely Jingle Skip. So we get hit back into nicer red bar. And then we get through the rest of the fight cleanly. So this is looking really good. One of the riskiest parts in the run is coming up next, and there's not much you can do to avoid it being a risk. And we have to hit 2 Rock Slides on this next fight, because Rock Slide is our only move to deal with Ghastlies. And if we miss one of the Rock Slides, Ghastlies know Nightshade, which is guaranteed to kill us. They also know Lick, which can paralyze us. Lick and getting paralyzed is actually the best because you can use your full restore, and then like you don't have to worry about missing rock slides. But they also know like Confused Ray. So if you get Confused Ray, then you're in a weird spot because like if you hit yourself, you're dead. But if you use your full restore, like you could use a super, but you really need the supers. With the full restore, you can pick up another one later. But if you use your full restore and then get paralyzed, you're in a really weird spot. So like it might be best to YOLO through it, but you would have to hit 2 rock slides. So luckily we hit the rock slides. Those are the 2 scary ones. So I have 2 more I need to hit, but they're not as important because we get a free heal in Lavender Tower. Alright, so we get both Elixirs. So that gives us a total of 3, and we have an Ether from earlier. So that turns out to be all the PP items you need for the game if you have good stats. So if you have high enough attack, which is I think like 12 DV or higher, maybe 11, you can just Earthquake Jinx on Lorelei, which only means you need 4 Horn Drills. Otherwise, you would have to like do something like pick up the Matt's Ether or do PP up strats. PP up strats are you at Zac on Black Belt and you Elixir after the fight. So then you end up having enough PP to get through Lorelei because you use 1 Horn Drill on Viridian Rival always, but you have 5 drills to use for your bad attack on Lorelei. But my attack is good enough where I can just Earthquake that. So I have all the PP items I need. And we hit all 4 rock slides here. So we had a really good rival fight. We kept Red Bar. And we hit all our rock slides. So right now we're looking at saving even more time. So suddenly, needing to save like 3.5 minutes or something for 154. Like we're almost there. So in this menu, I need to find Pokédolls. They were in a weirder spot than I remember them being, but we find them pretty well. And then we have 3 fights up here, which are really simple. So what am I actually thinking of at this point? This is more of like a laid-back section in the game. Once you get past the rock slides, it's pretty much free up until you get to like the top of Sylph. So this is more of a time to think about like just more laid back stuff. Think about like what kind of potential this run has. Knowing that to get 154, I have to save almost 3 minutes. No, wait, am I doing my math right? I'm at 157, so yeah. I have to save almost 3 minutes for a 154. So I'm almost there. And I know I saved time here, so I'm looking at like 154 pace right now if most of the end game goes well. And I think I'm actually going to Glod this split as well because the menu and the red bar. So that would be 3 Glod splits in a row on what's essentially my first red run in over a month. That's one thing that's even more amazing about this run that I got is my execution, like I said, was really good for the most part. And I haven't ran this game in a while. And now I'm saying in the video that if this run did not have so many Mount Moon encounters, like I said, this is looking at 154 pace right now. But if I had even an average Mount Moon, this is solid 153 pace at this time. And if I had like a good Mount Moon, this could be 152. Which, at this point, that would be a 5-minute PB if I had a good Mount Moon. But even 154, like 154 is my goal. That would be a really good time for me to have. 154 is basically the time that I consider in red to be a good time. 154 and below. At least for my skill level. So I think, like, I've definitely had the potential to get a 154 for a while. But I just don't run the game enough and I can't get any good luck. So, like, even this run was like 28:55 Mount Moon. That is absolutely miserable. So getting a 154 with that Mount Moon time it means you have to have really solid execution for the rest of the run. So now I'm a full 3 minutes ahead. So now I'm looking, well, how much more time can I save? I know I can save time on Elite Four. I'm pretty sure I can save time on this split with Sylph. So I'm thinking, well, can I get a 153 with this run? Because I need to save about 350 to get a 153, approximately. So that means 43 more seconds. And knowing I can save time there, I'm thinking, well, let's just play well and see how the rest of the run goes. And then we'll see, can I maybe push this to 153? Because I really, at this point, I don't want to take any unnecessary risks. So one thing I did do is I bought an extra at special. And this menu was one I messed up. That was the second biggest mistake of the run, is swapping the wrong ETS item there. In yellow, which I'm used to, ETS speeds are above ETS specials. So, but like I said, I bought an extra ETS special, and Sylph is coming up. So on Sylph Rivals Gyarados, with my special and HP, I can easily survive a Hydro Pump from full. I don't know if it's going to red bar me, though, because I know my special is really good. And Sylph red bar is only faster if you get red bar off of it. Like, if you don't get red bar, like, it's bad. And it's really risky because you risk Hypno, you risk Nidorino killing you. So I don't want to kill the run by going for something that would push me to 153 when my goal is a 154. So at this point, like, even though I bought the ETS special, it's more in case of, like, I used the wrong item somewhere. It's not like I want to use this strat. So, because I swapped ETS specials there by accident, I'm going to swap ETS speeds in the next menu here when I get in Safari Zone. But then sometime I really want to take the time to reverse those two items, because it's going to be really quick. So, like, the next time I scroll past, I'm going to swap the two items back just so I don't mess up. I think I actually decided to do that earlier, though. So, like, an inefficient time to do it, but I just wanted to get it out of the way. So I swap down here and get the ETS speeds. And then I teach Ice Beam. This was kind of slow. The menuing in this place was kind of slow because I wanted to fix everything and make sure it all worked out right. And mainly I want to make sure I teach Ice Beam over the right move, because I have had a run die to teaching Ice Beam over Horn Drill before. Because I'm used to Rock Slide being in slot 2 from yellow. So when I go to teach Ice Beam over Rock Slide, I put it in slot 2. And that's where Horn Drill happens to be for me. So I grabbed this full restore just in case. It's really not necessary. But depending on, like, I'm trying to think of what else could even happen that would require an extra full restore. Because you really don't need 2 in red, ever. Yeah, so this is where I fit that speed net special. Just because I just wanted to get it out of the way. But I'm thinking where else the extra full restore would come in handy. Generally, you use one before Agatha. I think I just got 2, so I'd for sure have enough healing items. But mainly, like, I don't know. I don't think I used a single super potion in this run. I'm trying to remember whether I used one. I don't think I did. And then I only used 1 full restore. Like, my health worked out so well in a lot of places that I really didn't need to use any healing items. So now we're going to go into Sylph. And looking here, well, it's pretty straightforward because I'm not going for a red bar. So I really just want, like, to not get trolled. So ideally something like double Whirlwind on Pidgeot. And like there's Machoke too, and like I don't really care if I take damage from him, but ideally I'd rather be high than low, because I would probably heal for Hypno if I was in range where Confusion would kill me. But like only to play it safe, because you have to Elixir and Candy there anyway, so you're going to pass right over your potions. So I feel like you might as well heal there. But that didn't come up in this run. So you can, you have to Thrash this guy, which means he gets an extra turn. You could Horn Drill this guy, but it's going to make the Giovanni, or not Giovanni fight, the Self Rival, you're going to have to Thunderbolt Pidgeot instead of drilling, and then not drill Agatha, basically. So I just decided to Thrash it, of course, because it's, you have to adjust a lot, and it's really nice to have an Etzac for Agatha, even if you're not going to use it. So, because our speed is 13 DV, there's no need for this Carbos. So, not needing any Carbos, I just go ahead and scroll down and teach Surf and Earthquake now. So that went really well. I didn't try to teach Surf to Nidoking, and I didn't try to teach Earthquake to Squirtle. Like, just a lot of the smaller menus like that are ones that, like, they're easier to screw up because you really don't prepare for them much. It's like the big menus, you know, hey, I need to do this exactly. But the smaller menus, like teaching Surf not to Nidoking, I feel are the ones where like you're more likely to mess up. So we have to teach Earthquake before this fight. And it's really like, I don't really know what to say. At this point in the run, I'm just kind of relaxing for a bit, making sure I keep my execution up, because I have not had a run that's been this good a pace, basically, that I can ever remember. Like I said, I think this is my best executed speedrun of Pokemon in any category. Like, even better than my yellow 158, I think. I think this run's execution was better. If anything, just for the fact that I don't run this game that often. Yeah, so I really just want to finish this run. There's still 2 fights that are really risky no matter what you do. And those 2 fights are, of course, Lance, because Lance can always kill you with Hydro Pump Critical. And the other fight is Black Belt, and Black Belt's known for killing probably the most red runs of any fight. The reason Black Belt is so risky is because you're only level 47 for the fight. If you were 1 level higher, Earthquake would be guaranteed kill on both Machokes with good attack. But it's now only about a 50-something% range on perfect attack. And you're in super low red bar for the fight, so you cannot afford to take any damage. And it's just always something that can kill your runs. But my Silver Rival fight goes really well. I don't try for red bar or anything. So my health ends up being, right now, it's really good. I might actually be able to live Confusion Crit because my special is perfect, but my special, I did not know if my special was actually perfect. So I feel like, well, it's looking good. I'm definitely not healing for Hypno at this point. Giovanni can still do some damage, though, with Horn Attack or Fury Attack. And I have plenty of health. I'm going to have, how many extra levels do you get? Yeah, you're like 40 for Hypno, so like, yeah, you're really, you have so many more levels. So if I don't take any more damage until Hypno, I'm going to have enough health to live a Confusion Crit, which is really nice. So then there's no risk in healing, or no risk in not healing at all. If I take some damage, though, and Confusion Crit kills me, I would still never heal that off. Because the problem with being too high on health, though, is you might actually survive self-destruct from wheezing. So ideally going in with 91 is not good. So I would not mind taking some damage. But I don't want to say luckily, but luckily I made the biggest mistake of the run in just a few seconds here, or just a few minutes. Not a few minutes, like really soon I made the worst mistake I made in the entire run. Okay, so this Giovanni fight. I can perfectly explain why I messed up because it's a really simple thing. So this Giovanni fight, you at-sack, and you use Earthquake on the Nidorino. So I'm used to yellow where Earthquake is in slot 2. So what I do is at-sack, of course. I get Fury Attack from Nidorino, which is kind of annoying, but it only 2-turns me, so that's good. But then, yeah, I realized it instantly as soon as I moved down, like even before I selected the attack, that I just Horn Drilled Nidorino. So now I have to Earthquake or Ice Beam something, and I can't really Earthquake, because the problem with Earthquaking, I have 1 to spare, but I can't use 2 Earthquakes, because I have exactly the right number of Earthquake PP to get through Koga. To get through everything. So I Ice Beam Rhyhorn, and now I figure, like, my special's really good. And it's a shake. I'm just going to double Ice Beam Nidoqueen, because it should kill. So, the first range, really good. So, yeah, Nidoqueen dies in 2. I get Tail Whip. I could Earthquake to finish that off, but I'm just going to Ice Beam. And then I get, like the lowest possible roll on the second turn, so it actually takes 3 turns. So I lose 2 turns by messing that up, and that was still what I consider the worst mistake of the run. Because it could have been a lot worse. Nidoqueen, I think, has Body Slam, which can paralyze. Or maybe that's only a yellow thing. But anyway, the Fury Attack and losing the 2 turns made Sylph actually pretty bad. So now we're going to go into Koga. And because we actually took some damage, our health is really good now. So we still won't live Confusion Crit, but we will for sure die to self-destruct without healing. So it's looking pretty good. Now I'm just worried about like Gen 1 missing one of these Drowsies or Kadabras. Because we can even live Confusion at this HP. Confusion would do about 51. That's a complete guess, by the way. It would do about 51 on my health and my special. So we can live that, and that would actually get us red bar for Koga, which is interesting. It would be too high red bar to make useful because we would level out if we don't get hit by black belt, but it would mean we can just Horn Drill Wheezing. But unless you're really, really, really low red bar, it's really not worth it. And then you get the problem of, if you're too low on health, the first coughing can actually kill you with Tackle. If you at-sack, so you have to Earthquake that fight. And then it's really awkward. So I choose not to heal, of course. If I would have done any healing, it would have just been normal potions. And then I use 1 candy before Hypno to guarantee that I keep red bar through Lorelei. So on certain HP DVs, you do not have to do that. And I'm not for sure, and I also didn't know my DV, but I think 7 is one of the ones where you actually keep red bar through Lorelei without candying there, but I do not know exactly. So I just went ahead and candied there because I'm used to it. So level 40 for Hypno, this is not a damage range, but I got the highest possible roll on that Hypno at level 40. It cannot die unless you're like 43, but like, or maybe 42 with a 1 in 39. But that was an insane damage roll on that Hypno. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter at all. Like, it would have been better to use that insane damage roll on something else, like something in Route 3, something on Nugget Bridge, like the Ekans that we didn't kill. But anyway, Koga fight, really standard. You at Zac, and then you drill. And then on Wheezing, you just hope that you don't get trolled. Because you have to use Thunderbolt, so you hope you don't paralyze it. And you hope, like, it doesn't... Like, paralyzing it and getting fully paralyzed is, like, the only bad thing that can really happen. Because then you might have to stall it out with Pokeflute, which takes so much time if you're not in red bar. Because you don't want to kill Wheezing, because then you lose, like, so much time in late game. So, I Thunderbolt Wheezing. Unfortunately, I get the crit and the paralyze, but it hits through and kills us. So in that spot, if I would have used a second Thunderbolt, like if it got fully paralyzed and I used a second Thunderbolt and crit again, it would have basically been like from 154 pace to like 156 pace, because no red bar for anything. So the time loss is mostly due to Giovanni being bad, but it's only 3 seconds of time loss, so still really good. Like, we're staying consistent with these late games. So now I'm going to use my 2 rare candies here. And that's going to bring us back to life. And then we're going to go bike over and get strength. And I just did something that would have been really bad if I went 1 tile farther down. Like, I almost hopped the ledge going down because for some reason I decided to turn down there. But anyway, we go to Pallet, and now we're going to go to Cinnabar. I forgot to split because this is a joke split I have in anyway. And, like, I'm probably going to remove this split anyway. Now that, like, I'm on serious times. So, I have trouble finding where Squirtle is because I'm used to going down to Lapras at that point. And... well, I don't have Lapras, I have Squirtle. So, it took me a little time to find Surf, but I find it perfectly fine. So, Mansion, really straightforward. And then, for this part with red bar in late game, like, nothing is even worrisome until black belt. So you have 10 minutes of absolutely no risks for a while. So this is mainly just, like, chill, make sure you don't mess up easy things. Prepare yourself for the late game. Think about what strats you might want to use for Elite Four, you know? Just kind of like assess the situation. So this is like the last break you get, but you still have to execute. But it's like hard to gain time and hard to lose time. Like, the only time save you can really have on this split is not needing to get the Carbos, and I didn't need Carbos in PB. So, not losing any time, not gaining any time, teaching strength to Squirtle. Like, everything's going really well. I'm playing really well, and, like, there hasn't really been anything that could have screwed me over, but nothing has, so, like, I can't complain. From Mount Moon Exit, we've saved 3 minutes on 2 minutes of its execution, and 1 minute, 1.5 is not needing to get Farfetched and getting good cans. So, like, with better luck, this run definitely could have been 1-5-2. With really good luck, this run could have even been a 1-5-1, which would be just insane. Like, I never imagined that I would be able to get a run that would be, like, tied with Worcester. But, anyway, we gotta make sure we don't forget the secret key. I have never forgotten this secret key, but I've seen several runners lose runs to forgetting the secret key. Alright, so we got the secret key, and now we gotta find Paris and dig, and that was really good. Like, I'm playing these menus really well for the most part. And then as soon as I say I'm playing the menus really well, I go into Pokemon instead of items. So, Erica just always seems scary, like, for me, because, like, I'm a yellow runner, mainly. So, when I go into Erica, like, you have to tank 1 hit in yellow. But when I hit, when I go into these fights on like 12 HP, I just kind of get scared because I'm like, oh no, I can't live Mega Drain now. But then it's really easy. So yeah, like if you Gen 1 miss on these, then you're in really bad shape. I Gen 1 missed on Erica in a yellow run and it cost me the run. So like, bad things can happen. I think one of the Pokemon has Sleep Powder and it will always use it. So like, really, really bad things can happen if you Gen 1 miss here. Especially because you're on super low HP and this is one of the fights you don't at accuracy. This fight and actually Erica, Blaine, and Sabrina. Normally you do not Etzak Blaine. It depends on your stats. But so there's 3 fights in a row where you do not use an Etz accuracy, and if you Gen 1 miss, you can and usually will die. So like there are a lot of risks, but they're like super rare risks that'll never really happen. And this is a time save that I don't really understand. I saved 27 seconds on Erica. I think I needed a Carbos in PB, but like I don't understand where this time save came from. I will have to look over like my 157 to see what happened. But the only thing I can really think of is like no, the only things that happen between there are going to Mansion, getting strength, doing that menu. Like, I don't see how you can lose that much time. But anyway, I saved time. That was one time save I didn't account for. So now I'm looking right now. Well, I only need to save about 18. No, wait. Let me do the math here. I'm about 10 seconds ahead. Yeah, I need to save 19 seconds to get a 153. And I'm thinking right now, this is actually, like, I'm thinking too far ahead. I'm thinking this is solid 153 when it's really not. Because I know I can save time on Elite Four, but, like, it's not guaranteed I save time on Elite Four, of course. So we're discussing, like, in the chat right now of, like, what I'm going to do for Black Belt. Because that's the big thing. So Black Belt, there's a few strats. I have 14 DV attacks, so it's an option to Earthquake straight up. Normally you only do that on like 15 DV, but you can do it on any DV from like 13 up. It's technically safer because if you get the range, Machoke doesn't get a turn. And then you can get Leer, which guarantees you kill the second Machoke. The other strat, which always gives the first Machoke a turn to screw you over, is at Special. But it guarantees you kill everything. So you're guaranteed to take one turn of potential run killing. But it's always one turn. And the other strat, which I can't actually do in this run, is at accuracy. Because I do not have the Etz accuracies to spare. Well, I guess in theory I could. Yeah, because I have all of my horn drills, so I could just not at Zach on Agatha. But I decide, like I've already decided at this point, I'm going to at Special on Black Belt and go for just not getting trolled by the first Machoke. So the first Machoke has Leer, Karate Chop, Low Kick, Focus Energy. So, and he can also Etz Attack. So Etz Attack is 25, or is it 20? I don't remember. But basically, he has 5 things he can do. 3 of them do nothing. And Low Kick, I don't think kills you. Karate Chop doesn't kill you without a crit, but it's like 80% to crit. So, like, at Specialing is pretty safe. It's not the safest strat, but it's pretty safe. So I'm just thinking, even if I get like low kicked, I'm still going to be alive. It's risky, but like the only other option is use a normal potion before Giovanni or before Black Belt. And then the thing came in, well, if I normal potion, then I'm basically playing for 154, like I'm playing it really safe. But if I normal potion and don't get red bar, playing for 154 could turn the run into 155. So really you cannot take the risk of healing before black belt, because if you don't get hit back into red bar, then you're in an even worse situation than you were before. And of course, not getting hit back into red bar means that you didn't have to potion. And like, if you got hit back into red bar, you might not have even died. So if you survived with like 21, then you wouldn't have died and you would have been better off not healing anyway. It's only if you get karate chop crit where it's really worth it to potion, but you can't have that kind of like foresight into what's going to happen. So like, even though I'm playing safe strats, there is absolutely no way I'm going to heal before black belt, because like, it's just not worth it. I'm on 18 HP. I can live 2 of his attacks if they don't critical me, I think. But really, if he just uses focus energy or uses Leer, then we're fine. And black belt's like a mandatory risk that you have to take. It's basically Lance, but with a little more chance of screwing you over. Slightly more. Maybe actually less chance than Lance. But like black belt and Lance, you just kind of accept that those two can kill your runs. So I've decided at this point for sure that I'm going to add special before the fight. Or in the fight. I also have to make sure that I elixir. So like, I have that in the back of my mind, but I know I have to do this fight first. Like, I technically don't have to, but the elixir's so far down in the inventory that elixiring and then getting on the bike in one menu is slower than just doing them separately, because you would have to scroll an extra time. So this Rhyhorn, you can actually, I've actually Gen 1 missed him before in yellow, and he does like 30 damage with Stomp. It's really bad. But now we're on to black belt, so I'm going to at special in this fight. And this is like, it's the scariest fight in the run at this point, because you're on such low health and he has such a good chance to kill you actually. So I just need anything besides karate chop crit for the most part, and I get Et's attack. So perfect fight. Et's attack is actually, I think Leer fail would be the best option for speed. Leer hit is technically better because you can Thunderbolt the last Machoke with an Et special, but for the amount of time it takes for the animation and lowering your stats is probably the same speed to just Earthquake it, to Earthquake the last one. But we're past black belt, so now I know that the only thing, there's 3 fights left that can screw me over, and they're the last 3 fights in the game. So we're just, well, I can also Gen 1 miss on Giovanni, but we're on to Agatha. So Agatha can always troll, but if things go well, like, you just heal the full before Agatha and don't get trolled, and you're fine. And then you have Lance. Lance is always scary because Gyarados crit with Hydro Pump just kills you. And then Champion, depending on how much of a risk you take on Champion, you could have some problems. So we'll get into that later, because my Elite Four strategy was mainly, my Elite Four strategy and execution was mainly the reason that I wanted to do this post commentary of how I got through with playing for specific times. So at this point, I'm still thinking, I still would like to play for 153 if the risks are not too great, because I know my Elite Four can save time, and I know I can save time in Victory Road. So, like, it's gonna come down to, like, just what happens on Agatha at this point for how I play. So, like, Giovanni goes as expected. I lose, like, no time, because you can't really lose time. So, for the mid-game from Erica on, gain, like, half a second, because these splits are so straightforward. So now we're on to Victory Road. The one split where it seems like I always save time, which that's gotta come to an end sometime because my execution's gonna get to a point where I have perfect victory roads. But like, I don't understand. I think in my yellow 158, I think I still save time on victory road with an encounter. So like, it's just really weird how I always save time there, because it's not like this fight does anything. So this Pidgeot, I do make some slight mistakes in this, not holding B for agility. So I used the Etzak and the Etz special here. I luckily correct myself. I gotta look at my notes to see what to do on this fight, actually. Just because, like, I really, at this point, while I still want to play for a 153, I would rather take an extra second or two to make sure I make the right play than to lose the run because of a bad play. So everything's going well. So at this point I'm thinking, well, like, I know I gotta do Victory Road with good execution. And I know Lorelai's gonna be fine. And I know Bruno should always be fine. So we're coming down to just, I'm gonna full restore for Agatha. I know I'm gonna full restore for Agatha. So it's really just, it depends on how Agatha goes of whether I push this for 153 or not. But then I see how much time I actually save on Victory Road. Because the cutoff is basically 32 seconds. So that means I need to save 350. So I need to save 18 more seconds. And since I know I can save time in Elite Four, I know that I can, like, I know with a good Elite Four I can get 153 with this run. But I don't know if it's worth taking the risk. So if a situation arises where I don't need to take a risk, like if I get a good Agatha, then I don't have to take a risk and I can still get 153. So a risk would be like not healing for champion. But like healing for champion, if you're like, it's a strange case because you really don't want to die if you're on a run where you're going to PB by 3 minutes. Because if I didn't PB this run, it would be throwing away such a good run. Because this is, like, PB at this point is so free. As long as I don't get crit by Gyarados, it's pretty much guaranteed that I'm going to finish the run. So, just got to focus for Victory Road. Not screw up the boulder puzzles. And then, basically, just get good Elite Four. And then it's easy. Like, 153 was not really even in my mind until we got, like, to Erica. Because I did not know that I had that much time to save on Erica. I figured I'm 3 minutes ahead at Koga. I gotta save 50 more seconds. So, like, I don't think I can save that much time. It turns out, that I actually, like, hold on, let me do the math here. I actually did save exactly 50 seconds from Erica onward. So this could have been it, but I did not expect this run to be 153 potential because I don't know. I still don't know what happened on my Erica split in my PB. But this Victory Road was really crisp. This is probably the best execution Victory Road I've ever had. One of the main mistakes I do is on this boulder a lot of times. Like, for whatever reason, I'm so used to Super Repel and then Bike in, like, every menu that I'll Super Repel and then get on the bike. But I'm already on the bike, so yeah. And then that wastes, like, 5 seconds. But this was a very, very good Victory Road. Like, this is, I don't think I made a single mistake in this Victory Road. Like, no bonks. No bad menus, slightly slow on one of them, but like everything went really well. And this is going to be like once again, I don't know what happened in PB for me to save so much time in Victory Road, but I never seem to know why I saved time in Victory Road. Because like at some point, you're going to get to the point where you don't save any more time in Victory Road, but I still save time. Like, I'll probably Glawed next run, too. Yeah. So I have both my full restores at this point, and I have all 3 of my super potions. I haven't needed to heal yet. And I also have 5 normal potions in stock. The normal potions are actually really helpful because what you can do with normal potions is to manipulate red bar. So if you're at the point where healing 50 wouldn't get you a red bar, you can heal 20 and then you basically always get red bar. Like between super potion and normal potion, you can pretty much always get red bar from one of the two when you're this late in the game, because 30 HP difference is like red bar. So now at this point, I am exactly on 153 pace if my Elite Four is the same as in my PV. So I just need a good Elite Four. So, like, as usual, it's going to come down to Agatha, because Agatha is the one main troll. I wouldn't even call Lance a troll, because Lance is just a run ender. He's not a troll. He has one move, and the one move just kills the run, or it gets you red bar. Like, Agatha has 4 moves on the Gengar, and 1 move on the Golbat that can all be bad. So, Lorelei, there's a 1 in 256 chance that you can die to Lorelei. And it's, like, really dumb. So you swap in Pidgey and you get killed. Because Dugong is 100% guaranteed to use Rest on Nidoking on turn 2. Rest gets buffed priority. Or not priority. What's it called for, like, whether they use the move? I think it's affinity or something. They're +1 affinity for using Rest on turn 2, because Rest is a status move. So Rest and Growl are more likely on turn 2. So because it can only Rest or Aurora Beam, because they're super effective, it'll always Rest on turn 2. And like I mentioned before, if you have a really good attack, you Earthquake Jinx. The critical did not matter, but it was a, like, predictable Lorelei fight. I don't have splits for each individual Elite Four member, just because I used to have them, but I would forget to split every single time, so I took them out. Okay, so coming into Bruno, I have to find my Ether. I know it's really far down. I don't know how far down it is, but I find it pretty well, and then I make sure I get Horn Drill. So, Onyx can actually kill me with Slam Crit, and I think if I don't take damage from Onyx, then I'm going to level out of Red Bar. I'll need to see my health to confirm that, but that's what I was thinking during the run. If you level out of Red Bar on Bruno, it's not bad, because it's only 1 Jingle Skip and a few cries. Yeah, I would have actually kept it, I think. So I get Rock Throw, which cannot kill you, because it does no damage. But, like, just the fact that Rock Throw hit is amazing. And then Bruno's really free. So now we're coming into Agatha. And Agatha, for the most part, like, if you're in Red Bar, you want to just full restore for Agatha. You have the option of super potioning, and then 1 Nightshade puts you back into Red Bar. But just because Agatha is really likely to troll, if you're not going for, like, if you don't take damage on Agatha, full restoring is the right play, because then you don't have to heal before Lance. So I decided to full restore before Agatha here, because it's kind of likely that you take no damage from Agatha. It's kind of like Surge in yellow. Like, you can die, but you can also take no damage. So, Agatha has, Gengar has, what moves? Gengar has Dream Eater, Hypnosis, Confuse Ray, and Nightshade. 3 of those are bad. They're all pretty bad. So you have to speed on it. But I Zac first on purpose, and I get the 5% swap out to Golbat. Apparently 5%. So, okay, a lot of things going through my mind mid-fight that I wasn't sure about. So, if you're going to Etsack, you definitely want to Etsack turn 1 on Gengar. But it's actually, like, if you Et Speed on Gengar first, then you can Earthquake to finish it off. But if you Etsack on it and you get the swap, you can just go ahead and straight up drill Golbat. But then you have to Et Speed on Gengar again, so it's kind of awkward. I just decided to Et Speed on Golbat, which was a risk because I could have got hazed. If I got hazed in that situation, then I lose my Et's accuracy, I lose my speed. I have an extra Et speed, but I don't get to Etsack the fight. So it's going to be a lot slower. But the way it worked out leaves me at absolutely perfect health for Lance, where Hydro Pump will put me in red bar because of my special. I would not get red bar from full. So I actually play this wrong because I Elixir before Lance. Because I don't need to heal, I should have saved the Elixir for before champion. For some reason I feel, oh, I'm out of horn drills, I need to Elixir. So it ended up like costing a few seconds because I could have used the Elixir in the next menu. Because I'm for sure healing before champion. Or usually healing before champion. But anyway, Lance, Hydro Pump crit, kills the run. Hydro Pump non-crit, perfect. Hydro Pump miss, while technically faster, it actually loses time because you don't get red bar for either of the last 2 fights. So you really just want Hydro Pump to hit. And then you get cringeworthy of, is it going to crit? Is it going to crit? And then your health stops right at 23, which is absolutely perfect. This red bar can be carried through the last 2 fights, and I believe we can take a hit on Champion. But Champion gets 2 turns, so at this point, I'm like, do I heal? Do I heal? Now I'm like solid 153. Solid 153 because Agatha and Lance went perfectly. I don't think this Elite Four could have gone any better to this point. So now I'm like 153 is like there. It's not worth not healing before champion. Because if I don't heal before champion and I take 2 hits or get crit, I am dead. So I am just going to heal. So then I'm like, well, super potion, too much. Normal potion, 50. That works. That works really well. Very unlikely I die from 50. And if I get hit once, I'm back in red bar. So I'm going to scroll to normal potion here. And I'm playing normal potion before champion. If I don't get red bar off champion, it is fine. I am locked into 153 at this point. As long as I do not get hit twice and crit. Like, this was the right play in almost every situation. Unless you need to not heal for a specific time. So I healed 20 HP. So basically I need to live this fight with over 20 to say I made the right, or live this fight with over 20. But anyway, Pidgeot at 50. I at speed at Zac. I at Zac first because I healed. So I want him to do more damage. I at special instead of at speed because I have good speed. And I get wing attack. How much is this going to do? Okay. It puts me in red bar. Now I'm going to absolutely make sure I play the fight right. And at this point, it's like pure ecstasy. Like, I have never been like this excited over a run. It's not over because I still have to like make sure I ice beam the ride on, which is right here. So with the special on champion strat, you can one-shot ride on with ice beam. If you have good enough special, you can outspeed Alakazam with the special badge boost instead of an speed, if your speed's good enough. And then we horn drill the rest, and I am just relieved that we finally finished a good run. So the way I was able to turn this into a 153, basically glotting sit splits. This Elite Four was like basically absolutely perfect. The only ways it could have been better are if I did not Elixir before Lance and Elixir before Champion instead. And then not potioned. Because this run turned into a like exactly mid 153, even closer to 152 than it was to 154. So, and after a corny Piccolo's power level joke because the time save was close to 420 It's like we finally did it. We finally finished a good run. And like the fact that I really think I do underestimate my ability in red, because I thought, well, I know I'm probably capable of 154, but 154 was, as my goal, was mainly something like I don't really run red enough to say I want to push this down once I get the 154. But now that I have 153, I don't really know if I want to continue. But like it is, like I said, red was boring at the beginning of this run. Red's actually a really interesting speed game, and it's really deep, but like I still don't like it as much as yellow as a speed game, but you have to admit, when you get on good runs, it is really, really fun. And getting a 153, knowing that I can save a lot more time, and knowing that I played really well, like this was just the best run I've ever had. Like this is the first run I've actually been happy with, that I feel like doing commentary and feel like posting. So that says a lot, because this isn't even my main speed game. But yeah, it's interesting to note that I just decided to do red because, well, 151 wasn't working out. So I'm like, well, I'll just do some red, you know. Like I can easily PB, but I did not expect to save this much time. So anyway, that was my commentary. Once again, if you want to watch the live run instead, there are 5 face cams and 2 game feeds, so like I cut a lot of it out. Other than the big frame drops around Misty and Surge, it was really good in terms of quality. I didn't notice anything. I don't know if I'll actually drop any frames on this, but yeah, the live feed is on Twitch highlight. And like this was just a really good run. I'm really happy with this. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll probably definitely do some more red later on, but for now I'm happy with this time. If I happen to improve it in the future, well, then that's great, but I don't see myself trying to actively push this any lower. But it was really fun to do. So yeah, I'm really happy with myself for this run.